Sound of a soaring string quartet, the rustle of silk and taffeta, the soft, expectant murmur of a crowd. The chapel was a vision of white lilies and soft candlelight. Every pew was filled with the most important people in our lives. I stood at the end of the aisle, my father's arm tight in mine, my heart pounding a rhythm of pure, unadulterated joy. I could see Alex waiting for me under the floral arch, looking so handsome in his tuxedo I could barely breathe. This was it. The day we would become partners in every sense of the word. Not just in life, but in business. Tomorrow was the official launch of Nexus, the tech startup we had poured our souls into for 5 years. Our baby. I took the first step. Then another. The music swelled. I kept my eyes locked on his. But he wasn't looking at me. He was staring at his phone, his face pale, a sheen of sweat on his brow. My best friend and maid of honor, Chloe, was standing just to the side. I saw her give him a slight, almost imperceptible nod. He looked up, and his eyes met mine. But there was no love there. Only panic. And resolve. He turned to the pastor, whispered something, and then, he ran. He pushed past the pastor, down the side aisle, and out a small door near the altar, with Chloe following right behind him. The music died. The gasp from the crowd was a physical force. I stood frozen, 200 pairs of eyes burning into me, the abandoned bride in a custom-made dress. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of my own heart shattering. But I did not cry. I did not scream. I slowly, deliberately, pulled my arm from my father's grasp. I reached into the hidden pocket sewn into my dress and pulled out my own phone. I had received a text, timed exactly with my walk down the aisle. It was from Alex. It was a group text to me, my parents, his parents, and our entire board of investors. I can't do this. I'm sorry. My heart belongs to Chloe. We're leaving together. I looked up from the phone, my face a mask of serene calm. I turned to our guests, my voice clear and steady, carrying through the stunned silence. It appears the groom has a prior engagement, I said. The reception will continue without him. Please, enjoy the champagne. My name is Isabella Izzy Vance. I am 29 years old. For 5 years, I was not just Alex's fiancé, I was his business partner. I was the coder, the architect of Nexus's core software. He was the charismatic frontman. We were a perfect team. Or so I thought. The betrayal was not a sudden thing. It was a cancer that had been growing in the shadows. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, Alex had been distant. Preoccupied. He said it was the stress of the launch. He and Chloe had been spending a lot of time together, planning the wedding surprises. I was too busy with final code deployments to see the truth that was right in front of me. The accomplice was my own best friend. The woman I'd trusted with every secret since we were 16. She had been the one to calm my pre-wedding jitters, all while stoking the flames of his. The depth of the exploitation was what cut the deepest. They had used my trust, my love, and my focus on our shared dream to conduct their affair right under my nose. The business trips he and Chloe took together to secure vendors? Lies. The late nights at the office, pushing for launch? More lies. The final, brutal twist was the timing. They didn't just leave me. They orchestrated the most public humiliation imaginable, on the most important day of my life, and on the eve of the culmination of our 5-year professional struggle. They wanted to break me completely. My intelligence was always in the details, the code, the fine print. While Alex was the big picture guy, I was the one who read every line of every contract. In the chaotic, heartbroken hours after the wedding that wasn't, while my family wept and raged around me, my mind, almost of its own volition, went to one place: our partnership agreement for Nexus Ventures, LLC. I had insisted on it. I'd seen too many startups torn apart by personal drama. Alex had signed it laughingly, calling me thorough. I opened the document on my laptop, my hands shaking but my focus laser sharp. I went straight to Clause 7b, good faith and company image. All partners shall act in a manner consistent with the good faith operation of the company. Any verifiable act of gross personal misconduct by a partner that brings the company into public disrepute, or materially damages investor confidence, shall be grounds for immediate forfeiture of that partner's equity shares, which will be redistributed among the remaining partners. He had breached it catastrophically. Abandoning his co-founder and lead technologist at the altar, for her best friend, on the day before launch? That was a scandal that would be all over tech news by morning. It would destroy investor confidence. It was the definition of gross personal misconduct that damaged the company. My unique skill was my legal foresight and my ability to separate emotion from action when it mattered most. What was at stake was everything. My life's work. My financial future. My dignity. The foreshadowing was a single email I sent to myself at 3 a.m., still in my wedding dress, with the subject line, Clause 7b. Activate. It was a time-stamped record of my discovery. The next morning, as the tech blogs exploded with the salacious story of the runaway groom and the maid of honor, I was not in bed, sobbing. I was in a conference room across town, sitting across from David Chen, the CEO of a rival tech giant who had been trying to acquire Nexus for months. I had called him at 6 a.m. "David," I'd said, my voice raspy but firm. "The offer you made for Nexus. Is it still on the table? Izzy? I heard what happened. Are you okay? Is Alex? Alex is no longer a partner in Nexus Ventures," I stated, sliding a copy of the partnership agreement across the table, with Clause 7b highlighted. "I am the sole owner. And I am ready to sell. Today." David's lawyers worked fast. They verified the clause. They saw the public fallout, the investor panic. They knew my value was the code, and I was still here. As Alex and Chloe were presumably saying their own rushed I-dose at a courthouse, I was signing the papers that sold Nexus for $50 million. The power didn't just shift. It was a hostile takeover of my own life, and I had just won. They found me at the old office, the one we had started in, cleaning out my desk. They were holding hands, Chloe flashing a cheap, gold band. Alex looked triumphant. "Izzy, we know this is hard. But we're in love. We wanted to be honest." Chloe nodded, her eyes faux sympathetic. "We hope you can find it in your heart to forgive us one day." I continued placing my notebooks into a cardboard box. "Congratulations. I'm sure the courthouse was lovely." Alex's smile faltered. "Look, about Nexus, we'll need to figure out the buyout for my shares. I'm thinking 7 figures, given the acquisition offer from TechSphere is still pending." "The acquisition offer isn't pending," I said, not looking up. "It's closed. I sold Nexus to David Chen this morning. For $50 million. The room went silent. Then, Alex laughed, a nervous, brittle sound. "Very funny, Izzy. You can't sell without me. I have 50%. You have 0%, I corrected him, finally turning to face them. I picked up the partnership agreement from my desk. Clause 7b. Gross personal misconduct damaging to the company. Abandoning your lead developer and co-founder at the altar on launch day for a tabloid-worthy scandal qualifies. Your shares were voided as of 11:32 a.m. yesterday, the moment you sent that text. The lawyers have already confirmed it." He cycled through the stages. "Anger. That's not enforceable. I'll fight this. I'll sue you for everything." Then, manipulation. "Izzy, this is crazy. We built that company together. You can't cut me out. This is our dream." Finally, the desperate beg, his voice cracking. "Please, you can't do this to me. That money, it's mine. We were a team. We were a team, I said, my voice cold and final. You left the team. Now you get to live with the consequences. Both of you. Chloe's face was a mask of horror. You ruined us. No, I said, zipping up my bag. You ruined each other. I just handled the paperwork. The look on their faces, the dawning, horrific realization that they had traded a $25 million future for a cheap secret, was more satisfying than any wedding vow could ever have been. The fallout was a study in loyalty. My parents, who had been ready to hunt Alex down, were now weeping with pride. My brilliant girl, my father kept saying. The investors, who had been panicked, sent emails of relief and congratulations. My technical lead, Sarah, called me, her voice full of fire. The whole dev team is with you, Izzy. He was dead weight anyway. Alex's mother even called, her voice thick with shame. What he did was unforgivable, Isabella. You were always the brains. He threw away a diamond for a piece of glass. We are so sorry. Alex and Chloe tried to justify themselves in the press, claiming ours was a relationship of convenience, and that their love was too powerful to deny. It only made them look more foolish and cemented the validity of Clause 7b. Their collapse was swift and merciless. With no money and a reputation for the ultimate betrayal, Alex was unhireable in the tech world. No one trusts a partner who stabs their own fiancée in the back. He ended up taking a job selling cell phones at a mall kiosk. Chloe, a freelance graphic designer, found all her clients dropping her. The story of the maid of honor who stole the groom was bad for business. Their powerful love quickly curdled under the pressure of debt and public scorn. They were stuck with each other in a tiny apartment, with nothing but the memory of the fortune they threw away. The final, poetic justice was the TechSphere launch of Nexus. It was a massive success. My code, my vision, was hailed as revolutionary. And in every interview, David Chen praised the brilliance and integrity of its creator, Isabella Vance. I was the hero of the story. They were the footnote, the cautionary tale that I didn't just get rich. I got free. I took my $50 million and started a new fund to help female founders in tech, with a special focus on solid legal partnerships. I live in a beautiful, light-filled apartment that is entirely my own. I travel, I code for fun, and I answer to no one. The poetic justice was absolute. The partnership agreement Alex signed without a second thought became the legal noose that hanged his own future. The woman he chose over me became the anchor that dragged him down. They were destroyed by the very institutions they took for granted, loyalty and a legally binding contract that he thought he was choosing love over duty. What he was really choosing was a fleeting infatuation over a $25 million partnership. They thought they had won some grand romantic prize, not realizing they had just disqualified themselves from the only game that ever mattered. Don't worry about the one who got away. Worry about the one who stayed, and built an empire from the ashes. If you believe in protecting your work and your worth, let me know in the comments. And for more stories of devastation,